JB here. JB here. Hope everyone's doing outstanding. Wednesday, July 16th, 3:30 on this fine afternoon. Talk really quick about the market. Some names I'm looking at. Go from there. Welcome to Jerome Powell's firing day. Just joking, sarcasm aside. That was the big news of the day. You had reports out, I don't know if it was Bloomberg or one of those outlets saying that Trump had crafted a letter to announce Powell's resignation, whatever. It's like letters is the new form of communication, right? And then other reports out that some White House member said that it was imminent or whatever. And then he goes and there's he's at a press conference or whatever, and he refutes that, right? So hopefully that is not the case. I know there's folks making arguments that he should be fired or whatever, but to me it's like even he's the only independent person, right? I mean, that's it, right? So you just kind of want that, right? And Jamie Dimon said it yesterday on his earnings call. Just that has to just let him roll off, right? Let it. His term ends. Once his term ends, for me, I like to serve. I'm not to see serve hitting highs. I like the shadow Fed option, right? Announce who you want to be your next Fed chair. Uh, just announce it or what have you, and make that kind of like your shadow Fed, and just leave Powell in place, right? That would be the outcome that I think serves the market the best. You fire Powell, who knows he even is able to do it, right? But to me, it just creates uncertainty, and especially with the markets, treasuries, all those different fixed income instruments, those things that are like, the U.S. dollar, all that stuff will get knocked out of whack. So don't want to see that happen. But anyway, it almost looked like the market, like folks are waiting to hit the sell button, because once that news came out, it was like, boom, we dropped from 623 and change all the way down to 618 on the SPY in a matter of 40 minutes. And then he refuted it. We bounced back and we're sitting in the green here. So uh, we'll see. Just hold your breath. To me, I'm holding my breath that this is, there's not another news event. And then usually it's going to happen right Friday, option expiration, when your calls are sitting pretty. I hope that's not the case, right? So until this kind of we get more clarity, it's probably best, at least in my opinion, to keep cautious, at least on some short-term things. I'm not going to go crazy on the call side, not to mention we're at all-time or right near all-time highs. And not that I've been overly aggressive anyway, but uh, so needless to say, take a look at the markets. Once we start to break, it was 619 on the SPY. I was looking at the Qs. I'm like, I just got some SQQQ calls as a hedge, small position, inexpensive, because it's one of those that it's like you hope it doesn't get green, because if it does, then it's not good for the other positions, right? But at the same token, have to be in a position where if things get ugly, and if it did get to the point where there was going to be some kind of termination, or some other serious negative news, you got to think that maybe, yeah, they're gonna take it. Bears gonna step in, right? So 617, that's the big spot. We got down to 618, almost got to 617. That'll continue to look at that. And then the other part is the yields, right? And those the 30 years still over 5, the 10 years up today. The US dollar's a weak, and it got weaker after the news. And the thing is, you would think that if you know that Powell's going to get fired, well, not know, but if the market's going to price that in, you would think that the person they install would be ultra for cutting rates, right? And it'd be another jumbo cut, 0.75%, 1%, the first meeting, right? Or they'd probably have an emergency meeting and cut it. I don't know what that looks like, but the fact that yields dropped after that report, it just kind of shows you that don't mess with this, right? So hopefully someone whispers in his ear, similar to what happened when he announced the 90-day pause. Someone whispered in his ear as some of these, the treasuries, the US dollar was all getting smacked, and it gets to the point of no return, right? The snowball starts rolling downhill, and then it's very hard to get that stopped. So hopefully that's not the last we hear of it. To me, announce the shadow Fed and move on, right? And let his term end, and then install the new Fed chair. But that's that. So take a look. I always try and find silver linings in the market. The amount of stocks trading over there, 200-day moving average in the green today. So that's a good thing. And that's that. So just quick on individual names. Joby's at all-time, well, $17 is all-time highs. The all-time high close is like 15.30. So pending any crazy late afternoon swoon, we have 25 minutes left. It's going to have an all-time closing high. It's at 16.40 right now. Gosh, I have my July 11 calls that I sold at the start of the week, right? And some of it, Kerrysdale Capitals, thanks for having your short piece on Joby. I figure it's just a matter of time, especially when the stock goes up. That's typically when these shorts try and take advantage. Oh, let me try and, it's easier to fear folks out of a position when it's up 35% a week than it is, when it's down, right? Obviously. So But anyway, it's still been a cash cow. I locked some more of the August strikes for 600%, still holding those. Um, and then, I locked some of the October 20s in just because you never know, right? And so nothing's ever certain, but I'm pretty confident they're just going to be continuation of FOMO, whether that's now or in a couple of weeks, couple of months. And I think it heads over $20. So I'll continue to hold those strikes. But what a monster. And it's funny, a lot of people are patting themselves on the back this week, like, oh, undiscovered before the herd. I'm like, I've been talking about Joby for quite some time. Made money on the calls on and off for a while now. It's just finally the longer, and I've been saying it for the last couple of months, the closer it gets to fruition, right? The market's already going to be pricing that in. So this is kind of like that stage of, hey, it looks like the odds of success are higher than the odds of failure. And here it goes. So great story. Continue like this one. It's the same token. You don't know one of these. I was saying this morning on the rant. At some point, it's going to have a massive pullback. I don't want to be in a spot where I don't lock some profits in. So I continue to do that, and I'll continue to do it on the way up. And then here's SERV Robotics. Here it is, up 12%. No news, no catalyst. To me, it's like another name that's just under the radar. People are coming to the realization that, hey, this stuff's not going away, right? Little robots delivering your food for the last mile. That's not going away. Little, hang on, yeah, all hidden highs. Little, little robots taking grocery deliveries to drone stations, and those drones delivering to homes. Like there's a whole ecosystem that's going to be out there as these things scale. And right now, I mean, Joby SERV is in a very, it's revenue is very small right now. I think it's 700,000. But fast forward to 2026, and their guidance is 60 to 80 million. Who typically these high growth companies, I mean, if they execute, it could be higher than that. But if not, it only trade. When I say only, but it's a growth company, right? I mean, if it's only done its estimates $1.2 million for this first half of the year, right? So if you kind of like extrapolate that, and I don't know what their back half revenue guidance is, but you're talking thousands of percent revenue growth year over year. So is that priced into a stock that's a $600 million market cap that's forecast to do 60 to 80 million dollars next year? Um, Growing leaps and bounds. Number one. Number two, has the partnerships with Uber, has a lot of big names on their board. Just has a Shake Shack partnership. There's a lot of good things to like just that alone, and then also has $200 million in cash, no debt. So I just I look at it, and today up 10%. That's only a $60 million boost in market cap. So the higher it goes, obviously, the more riskier it is. But I think it trades back over $14, and then you have that gap fill at 18. So my September strikes that I added close to 100%. At some point, I looked to close some of those out. The August I added this morning close to 100%. At some point, I looked to scale out of those. I still have some higher August strikes as well. But similar to Joby, if I had 100% confident conviction in it running to 14, $18, of course I'd load more, but you never know with the market, right? And again, another name, early stage story. So there's a lot that can go on. There's always shorts, drooling, seeing the name that's up a lot, take advantage. So I'll continue to, just be strategic, right? As it goes up, I'll lock some in, cover costs, ride the rest, because I think, again, it's just an early stage of its run. And if you took a look at Joby, it took a while for it to really get going. And now it's like this whole, take a look at Uber, what's that, $160 billion company. So every, 30 cents it moves is like one, well, probably every 10 cents it moves is one SERV Robotics, right? So it kind of helps put it in perspective. Obviously, if you take a look at what's going on with robo taxis and autonomous driving, things like that. Uh, anyway, all right, I can go on for a while on SERV, but I'm not. But again, $200 million cash, no debt, 600 something $million market cap. Actually, might be higher than that right now, just from the move today. Scaling out, 2,000 robots started by the end of 2025 and 2026. Just lots of like. All right, so that's that. Just some other names here. I mean, Roku's actually holding up here, which kind of leads me to Netflix, right? So Netflix reports earnings after close tomorrow. Uh, I looked at the Netflix calls, and it's like 80. I think it's an 80 something dollar implied move. I think it's like 6% or so. I think they can have a great quarter. And like the thing is, like, even if they have a great quarter, if it gets up to $1,300, the calls are not going to pay. Number one. Number two, if you tried to trade premium build today for earnings, all the calls and the puts on Netflix are red. So I'll probably just sit on the sidelines. But Roku might be one of those names that gets a nice move tomorrow after the close. to me, I'm still looking to get some August strikes, so I'll just be patient there. And there's Serve over 12 bucks, so good start there. I mean, Serve was 13 and change only a couple weeks ago. When was it 13 bucks? Back in June, and then in May it was up to 13. It was in 20s back in February. So the thing is, the thing with Serve Robotics, sorry, I'm going back to Serve Robotics. I think NVIDIA had a stake, and then NVIDIA sold the stake, but they sold their stake in a lot of these little niche names, not because they don't believe in the story. It's just like that. It's not part of the business model for the company, right? To hold stakes in companies. That's just not it, right? I think they had some stake in some other company and the stock sold off. But all right, rants for other days. So that's Serve, that's Roku, that's Joby. And then some other, MDBs just went green right now. Just disappointing since I got the spec lottos yesterday. Still have some hope. Won't take much. Still got plenty of time for expiration considering how MDB moves. If it does go like 215 or so tomorrow, I'll look for some more strikes into next week. I talked about Netflix, and then I'm still looking at some of these earnings trades, right? So Dexcom is not doing much. So I'll be patient there. I have a list that I'm coming up with. I'm hoping I'll have it out over the weekend, but if I see some that opportunities, I'll put it on the watch list. I just got to do more due diligence. But I mean, MDB is one of those names. Great earnings. Stock was all the way at 230, and then it sold off. And it's like, it's same with RH. And RH isn't going to be one of those names. But RH is back in the green here today off the lows. But another disappointing story, all the way up to 230 as well. And then it's like, it's divisive. So I don't know if there's a big short in it still or what have you. I always, for the last couple of months on RH, I keep talking that the CEO is going to do something, buy back stock or do some kind of special divvy, because that's what typically the RH CEO does when he doesn't agree with where the stock is. Maybe their earnings, they'll do that. I'm trying to think of some of these other names going today. I mean, take a look at Circle. Yeah, right? Use one of those names that every time I've traded off and on. Last time I traded, I think it was Roaring Kitty when there was speculation, the premiums went nuts. But that's a name it's like, how is Unity not? Well, now it's substantially higher. Got an upgrade this morning, so that's helping it. Some of the niche names. Oh, Reddit. Nice bounce off the lows here, up $5 off the lows. But I don't know if I'll trade that today, maybe next week. VKTX is still green, 3% here today. Probably another couple weeks until data comes out. Yeah, and that's about it. Oh, GameStop. There was a report that what did he do? There's a new website or something that they launched or something that hasn't been announced. I don't know what spin that looks like, but the stock spiked at about 11:30. But then that Powell firing news came out and that sold off. Still watching GameStop too. It's surprising. You see that SBET, right? They're doing a Ethereum ETH treasury stock, right? Instead of doing Bitcoin. So I don't know if they're the first one to do it. And that stock's going bonkers. I'm like, how is GameStop not going bonkers either, right? And I mean, they're doing they want to be transparent. They're doing all the buzzwords. I don't know. Like, I haven't looked enough at that one to get in front of that one. But to me, it's surprising that like you look at someone who's just a great, great for shareholder value, right? Ryan Cohen. I mean, anyway. All right, rants for other days, folks. Let's have a great day. I'll be back. Rock and roll.